So we're going to solve this mixture problem, which says that cereal A has a sugar content of 50%. Cereal B is made up of 10% sugar. How much of each cereal do we need to mix to make 15 ounces of cereal that is 20% sugar? So what we're looking at are two different cereals, cereal A and cereal B. And we want to mix them together to make our new cereal that is 20% sugar, and we want 15 ounces of it. So generally what we look at is we have percentages for each of these. So let's make our column for percent sugar. And we know that cereal A is 50% sugar, cereal B is 10%, and our mix we would like to be 20%. We also want 15 ounces of the new cereal, so number of ounces. We want to end up with 15 ounces here. Now we don't know how much of each of these we want to mix, so that is what our variables represent. So when I ask you to define your variables, A represents the number of ounces of cereal A, and B is a variable that represents a number, the number of ounces of cereal B. So when I ask you to define your variables, I actually want you to write this down like this. So this is A, this is B. Let's make that look a little more like a B. So now we want to figure out how much sugar we have. So if 50% of this number of ounces is sugar, that means half of A, 0.5 of A, 50% of A. That's how many ounces of sugar we would have in cereal A. And 10% of B is 0.10 times B. That's how many ounces of sugar we would have in cereal B. We want to end up with 20%, 0.20 of 15. 20% of this number here should be sugar. 0.20 times 15 is that. These two columns give us our system of equations. The number of ounces of A plus the number of ounces of B adds up to 15. So A plus B equals 15. And the number of ounces of sugar in A plus the number of ounces of sugar in B should equal the total ounces of sugar in our mix. So that is 0.50 A plus 0.10 B equals 0.20 times 15. Now if you don't like the decimals in there, you can multiply each of these by 100, multiply that by 100, that by 100, that by 100, or you could really just multiply everything by 10, because we only really need to move the decimal one spot over to get rid of all the decimals. So if I multiply everything, both sides of this equation, by 10, this becomes just a plain 5A plus 1B is equal to 2 times 15. Remember, you don't distribute 10 times both of those. You multiply the 10 times 0.20, you get 2 times 15, that'll be 30. So 5A plus 1B equals 30. This equation here, A plus B equals 15, now gives us our system of equations that we want to solve. So to solve this system of equations, I'm going to eliminate the b's. I have a 1b here, a 1b here, so I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by a -1. And the top equation remains the same, 5a plus 1b equals 30. And then the bottom equation will be a negative a plus a negative b equals a negative 15. So now, for elimination, the numbers in front of the b's are the opposites, which is what I want. So I just add straight down. A's, b's, equal signs, numbers are lined up. 5a plus a negative 1b is a 4a. 1b plus negative 1b is 0. That is eliminated. 30 plus negative 15 is 15. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 here. And it's okay, I'm going to get a fraction, but a is going to equal 15 fourths, which, if you would like a mixed fraction, is the same thing as 3 and 3/4, or if you would like a decimal, that's 3.75. So A is 3.75 ounces, and we need to figure out B, so I can take that number, plug it in for A in any of these equations here, and solve for B. So when I do that, 3.75 plus B equals 15. All I need to do now is subtract 3.75 from both sides, and I get my B. So 15 minus 3.75, I could add a couple of zeros there. If you think of like $15 minus $3.75, you should figure out that you're going to get $11.25. So that is the number of ounces of cereal B that we need to mix with the number of ounces of cereal A that we need to mix to end up with 15 ounces of cereal of new mix, which is 20% sugar. You can always check your answers by taking those two values, plugging back into both of your original equations here, and making sure that they're true. So A equals 3.75, B equals 11.25. Plug back into this top equation here. 5 times 3.75 plus 1 times 11.25 had better equal 30. 5 times 3.75, 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 7 is 35, 36, 37, and 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 more is 18.75, plus this 11.25, combine all those together, 5 to 5, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 30.00 equals 30, so it checks in that first equation. And in the second equation, a plus b had better equal 15. I plug in the 3.75 plus 11.25. That said is supposed to equal 15, which, when you add 3.755 plus 11.25, you can see 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1, 7, 2, 1, that's 10, carry the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 1. And the decimal point goes straight down, so 15 equals 15, checks out in both equations. So our answer, 3.75 ounces of cereal A, 1.25 ounces of cereal B, combined to make 20 ounces of new cereal.